All right. 3, 2, 1. All right. Well, hi everyone. Welcome to the Pixel Venture podcast. This is episode, I forget the number, but yeah, we've been gone for a period of time. But hey, my name's still Corey.
And I'm still Jake.
But yeah, we've been meaning to record and get like a new episode out last week. However, that didn't really pan out. We did get something recorded, but it was questionable at best. Maybe we'll release it as a bonus episode at some point. But as of right now, that is going in the vault, and we're not touching it.
No.
So yeah, as far as upload schedule for this, we've talked about possibly doing a different day for uploading. Or at least for recording, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're contributing so much to this conversation, Jake.
I mean, like,
Man, I missed recording these.
We kind of talked about it, in the sense of us doing the recording like earlier in the week if we stick to our upload schedule being on Sundays. That way, with our ever increasing editing budget, I would have more time to put it together.
Yeah.
But considering how we haven't really recorded, period, yeah, those plans have been kind of whack.
Whack. But
Yeah.
and also for anyone who's watching or listening to the podcast, well, I guess it's more watching because of the visual sort of stuff that we've been trying out with last episode and this
if
episode.
people have noticed, if they don't just put on the background like, "Ooh, we're gonna give these guys a view."
Well, see, the thing is though, is that I feel like
mute.
last episode, it would be weird because they would just be listening in the background, and then all of a sudden a very loud snap, and then an explosion, and like just a lot of random things going on.
Gunfire.
Yeah,
and then just start hearing
and Dan
voices.
Bull screaming.
Screaming, just like, "What have you done?"
Yeah. So that's been what the last episodes have been. My cat is meowing a lot right now. I think she wants to come into my room, but I'm not having her interrupt this podcast right now.
Yeah, that's why my family keeps the cats locked up.
Yeah, in little tin cans.
Dude, I only like half joke because my two cats have been like little shits the last like 2 weeks.
Really? What's happened?
Literally, so it was like nice like a couple days ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my family decided we would do some grilling. We had like some ribs and hot dogs and burgers, and we had chicken. We had like 3 nights worth of like chicken.
Oh no, I see where this is going.
And we left them in like a little like dish, like a casserole-esque kind of dish. And we had them leaving on the we like left them on the counter, fully on the counter, because we know they go up there. And like in the middle of dinner, we just hear a loud crash, and literally all the chicken is on the floor. And we were going to have that chicken like tonight for dinner, but we didn't have chicken anymore, so we had to get like pizza.
Hey,
Like there's that. There's like we can't leave like any bones out. If we have like bone in like chicken thighs or chicken legs or ribs, you can't have the bones out, or else one of them, I'll put a picture of them up. One of them will steal them and literally growl if you try to take it from them and run
like
away
a dog?
Yes, and run away with the bone.
Dude, that's
Which
like...
we can't let them have because he'll literally, if it's a chicken bone, he'll bite right through it, and that splinters. So it's like actually bad.
Yeah, that's like with one of my cats who passed away a little while back, Freckles. There was one time when I was making a sandwich, and like my little sister, she decided to put the cat on the counter so I could like pet her while I was making the sandwich. Then my mom called, and while I was on the phone with her, I just hear a loud thud, the sound of scurrying paws, and then my sister screaming, "Hey!" And turns out that Freckles stole the top piece of bread from my sandwich and was making a beeline to her like bed
Oh my
to try to
god.
hide it. And her eyes were so wide with like, this is the move. This is what I gotta do. Like,
I'll do you one better. We had like a plastic bag of like tortillas they were gonna use for like a more like Mexican-y kind of meal. Long story short, we don't really know what happened to it, and now we have a bread box. We legit don't know what happened to the bag of tortillas.
I like to imagine just one of the cats just looked at it and was like, yeah, I could eat that. Just went for it.
Like they literally eat anything that gets left out, anything that gets like dropped on the floor.
So they're high schoolers.
Yeah. Like they act like they're completely starving. They will legit just lick the floor with nothing on it. When like we give them like plenty of food.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And I like cats in general, like I love them so much, but they can be so high maintenance.
Yeah.
Like
My theory is like we got shelter cats, and we've always gone like shelter cats from like a pound.
yeah.
But these were the first ones that like I believe they're from the streets originally, and my guess is that's kind of like more ingrained, whereas the others were just like, oh, they had owners, but like couldn't take care of them. But like these
Yeah.
are like the yeah.
I can totally understand that because my cat Emmy, well her full name's Emerald, but we just call her Emmy because
Yeah.
why not? She was the runt of the litter.
Mm-hmm.
So like she has a habit where when we put food out for her, she'll eat a little bit and sniff it to make sure that it's there, and then she'll try to cover it with whatever like pieces of paper or cloth is like near her because she gets scared of other cats taking it, and it's like you're the only one in the house right now.
Yeah.
You're fine. But it's like it's instinct, you know? It's like the same thing with the way that people go about like eating like at a
Yeah.
table or whatever. There's people who like put their elbows up on the table because they're used to having like siblings like take food from their plate and stuff like that.
Yeah. Hunched over with like big bites and stuff.
Yeah. But anyways, you said that there was a few things you actually wanted to talk about this time around.
Yeah. Because there's been a few things in the news, and by a few, I mean, I think there's a few things, but I can only remember one of them. But
Okay.
it's a decently long story. Have you kept up with Blizzard recently?
I've heard rumblings, but I don't know much about the situation right now.
Because, as far as, like, from what I've seen, there's only, like, one, like, main source article, an interview done by Kotaku, where apparently Blizzard has just cut out a game that they had in development for 2 years and decided to scrap it. And it was a StarCraft FPS game.
It was Ghost?
No, it's a new one. They were working on a new one. They were basically just going to take StarCraft and make it in the Overwatch engine.
That
It's
would have been
basically-
so fun.
But they scrapped it. And plenty of people are complaining about how like they did this with the last time with like StarCraft Ghost or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they did work on it for like 2 years. It like wasn't even announced when like nothing's been announced for StarCraft in so long.
Yeah.
But they said that the reason they're scrapping it is so that they can put more development time, because they didn't lay off anyone. Everybody working for Blizzard and was working for that project is still working. So they're being moved to somewhere else. They're being moved to the development of Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2.
Why two?
Overwatch 2.
Why two?
The story goes because it's a single interview done by Kotaku with developers who have gone unnamed because they're like contractually not allowed to be talking about this yet.
So they talk about it anyways.
It's believed to be like mostly like next BlizzCon stuff.
What if it was literally Jeff Kaplan just going in and just being like, "Yeah, I'll give you an interview, but you can't put my name."
But the reason for Overwatch 2 is it's going to be more PvE oriented. They specifically noted Left 4 Dead style.
Okay, thank God. I thought it was going to be like 99 Tracers drop on an island.
No. They're doing like like the Overwatch events that they've been doing for the events.
Yeah, the events they were doing for the events. All right, Jake.
Yeah, the
wait, like
game
Junkenstein and
the game modes they've
like,
been doing for the events.
Okay.
Basically, it's gonna be more of that.
Oh, so it'll be what I enjoy from Overwatch.
Yeah.
Got it.
And maybe a campaign. Nothing's been said about that, but like it is like PvE stuff because like Overwatch in general is very like PvP and like competitive focused in terms of like the gameplay and like the mechanics and stuff. So they're basically going to be making a new-ish like engine just for the PvE stuff. Is what it sounds like.
Honestly, now that I've heard more about it, I'm completely okay with that because like one of the things that I personally really enjoy from a lot of Blizzard games is the lore. Like they have extensive lore in all of their games, especially Lost Vikings, dude. 3 Vikings, they're lost, dude. Get over it.
Don't forget the racing game.
But like literally the I think the Overwatch universe like lends itself to a lot of like sort of openness with the way that they can have the characters interact. Because the game itself, the one that we have right now, it's not considered canon because there's certain characters that shouldn't be talking, that would never work together, but like,
or you can have like 12 of the same character fighting against each other. So
yeah, like it's non-canon. So if they made this game and approached it where it's like specific factions and stuff, like having Talon and Overwatch and like sort of the renegades, like the guys who don't fight for either side, like that kind of thing. Like, I think that can loan itself to a lot of interesting sort of scenarios, especially if they go back to the Omnic Crisis and everything.
Yeah.
Because I would love a campaign of the Omnic Crisis where it's just going against like a sea of Bastions with Reinhardts, and it's just like, I
would love like a Reinhardt. Did you play Halo Reach?
Yes.
The what's it called? The firefight.
Dude.
Reinhardt, like the firefights with all the Bastions. That would be great.
Man, plus it would also like the main thing that I like, again, like I love the lore. That's the main draw for a lot of Blizzard games for me. And being able to like, maybe they would do something where it's like you can get the characters like origin story and do their first mission, or do something where it's like the mission goes wrong and then they turn, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like following Overwatch from the establishment of it to the fall to the rise of Talon to the need for it again, and then it would pick up like say where the Winston versus Reaper short came, like that.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, which that'd be interesting. Because honestly, I don't enjoy the PvP type Overwatch type stuff that was like the main thing that was the main draw of the game, because it was like, engaging characters, interesting abilities. Like these maps were really, really visually fun to like look at and go around and find shortcuts and things like that. Like that was fun for the first 100 levels, and then once I kind of hit a point where it's like the game is kind of like it's reaching like a peak for me, where they introduced competitive, because like we played way before the competitive circuit was actually a thing.
Yeah, and I played way before the competitive circuit.
Well, I played too. They never like established it until like, I want to say a few months in.
Just a humble brag that I played the beta back at PAX, but
yeah, I know, but
before you guys, but
yeah,
but yeah. So obviously the main focus isn't Overwatch 2. and it's not there actually being a Diablo 4, which everyone's been asking for. Uh, they're complaining that StarCraft is being cut once again.
Well, think of it this way. You have huge franchises that so many people have their eyes on, and they're being told that like one of those franchises is suffering when these other two are like, thriving. Which the best comparison I could make is think of Mario, Zelda, and Metroid. Like the three big IPs for Nintendo, where like Metroid doesn't perform as well as Mario and Zelda have in the past. So it's been pretty slow with
Mm-hmm.
getting new installments. Like the most recent one, I believe, is the 3DS remake of Samus Returns, and then there was the
Mm-hmm.
announcement of 4, but that got pushed back. Meanwhile, we're getting Link's Awakening on the Switch, like a new, well, remake. It's a remake, but like it's new engine, new art style, like all that stuff. And I fans of a franchise will always be upset when things don't go through. Like
Yeah.
like one of my favorite examples is sort of a forgotten example is the gap between Kid Icarus games, especially between the Game Boy game I believe of Myths and Monsters and the 3DS game Uprising. Originally there was supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be a Wii game that was in development forever, but then that got cut and a lot of people got upset. Then eventually that died down and they did release a game eventually. But still, having people who are fans of a franchise and then being told, "Yeah, the game that we were working on for the franchise that you love, yeah, we're giving up on it. But these other guys are going to win more, so it's great."
Yeah. But I feel like as someone who's like still in like the Blizzard circle of like conversation, like everybody's just trying to find like every reason to shit on Blizzard in like one way or another.
It's kind of like the same thing with Bethesda right now,
Yeah.
which sucks because I think they're great companies. They've made dumb mistakes, of course, like every company has,
Yeah.
but like it feels like it feels like it's a bandwagon of hate and not legitimate criticism anymore.
Like some of it is like legitimate, but others are like even if they do something right, like there's something wrong with it.
Yeah.
In like one way or another. Like someone's going to find a way to complain about it.
Well, that's just human nature too, to
Kind of
find
like game.
flaws in little things and then have that be blown up.
Yeah. Like other than that, like the other most recent thing I heard about like Blizzard in particular was they're doing the BlizzCon ticket stuff differently this year.
Mm-hmm.
Um where basically like everything is like the same and everything is like standard. Like if you buy a ticket, you'll get the exact same stuff. But what they've done is if you pay for a more expensive ticket, you'll get like not even like extra stuff, but it's like uh I don't have it like up with me, but it's like you can get I won't say like it's not like fast passes, but you can get like more private areas. And you can basically like unlock certain like access to areas, I think.
Mm.
And it's basically like if you want to pay extra stuff if you're like shy and don't want to deal with like the crowd of people. That's how I interpreted
Oh,
it.
so it's by your own sort of comfort space kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what it sounds like to me. It's not like, oh, like, buy this and this is like the actual experience. Like, no, it's like if you want to do it like in a more comfortable way, then like pay a little bit
I
extra.
feel like that's nice though to give viewers the option to have a more casual kind of experience though. In like fans,
Yeah.
because there's definitely like a lot of fans that would love to go to the event, but it's way too intimidating. So having like a
Hmm.
little casual, like maybe like a couch set up, have a nice projector up, be watching the presentation with everybody, that kind of thing. Like still be able to experience
Yeah.
the convention, but have that area. I think that's smart, honestly, because there's definitely a
Yeah.
demographic for that.
But still people found a way to like complain about that, like, oh, like they're giving people with money like privileges and like things like that, but
Yeah, they're giving them beanbag chairs in a
I don't
safe
know.
space. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. Because like if you buy the like regular ticket, you still get the exact same stuff.
Yeah, there's no major difference aside from, hey, this area is a little bit quieter. You know who I could
They
see
get
like a like kind of abusing that maybe though? I could see
who?
like journalists kind of using that as like an area where it's like, hey, we could do an interview here because there's less people and it's not on the floor.
Okay, so I have it up now, and so there is like just like the regular BlizzCon pass. There's a portal pass, which is a little bit more expensive. It doesn't have the prices where I'm looking, and it has access to uh, a private lounge with concessions and chances to meet Blizzard employees and esports pros.
So journalists will want
Uh,
that.
some kind of support, preferred parking, because everybody's gonna be parking
Yeah.
at BlizzCon. Let's see. It does have separate registration lines and security lines.
So the generic kind of like
among the first into a show, and that's the portal pass. So it's kind of like an easy pass, but like you're not
so
losing
to compare
anything.
it kind of to something that I know, essentially it's a fast pass. Like say you're at PAX, and they had a variant of the badges where you could get that. It would be you're put to the front of the lines for trying demos and stuff like that, and then you get access to the Twitch lounge or like Twitch lounge. I can't speak still. Don't worry, guys. We'll never improve.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much what I get from that, and I don't see a problem with offering that. It's literally like
Like it kind of feels like the difference between like sitting in like the Twitch lounge or in any of like those like bigger booth areas versus standing in the middle of like the path, like watching the stream. And then there's a third tier, and it's the same as the Portal Pass stuff, but it also has a charity dinner with Blizzard, signed Blizzard artwork, and reserved seating area for the Mythic stage.
that's like the big one for like all the huge games, I'm assuming.
The huge games, the opening ceremony, and the community night.
Honestly,
They'll have like, which like it's basically just like reserved seating with like extra prices. Like you're not losing
and
anything.
if anything, you get to do the charity dinner, which then you're knowing that like the money that you put towards the pass, well, the money that you put towards the basic pass is definitely going to be going into their pocket. But then like I'm assuming the extra money from that is going to be going to charity.
Yeah, and then you have things like the signed artwork, which like people would pay for anyway. It's just like it comes with the ticket in a way
How are people complaining about this?
because you're like giving people with money like privileges.
It's almost
That's
like
basically the complaint.
it's almost
People
like
will
paying
complain
more
about
money will
anything.
give. It's almost like paying more money will give you good things.
Like people treat it as if it's like, oh, like if you want, the previous BlizzCon experience, you have to pay more. This pass like gives you less now. It's like, no, it's the same. It just adds on.
Yeah.
A regular ticket will still give you like live access to events. It'll give you in-game goodies. It'll give you collectibles. It'll give you pre-game festivities and things like that. Like it doesn't do anything differently.
Yeah. And the fact that they're complaining and up in arms, that makes me a little frustrated.
Yeah. Like Blizzard has made like some mistakes with their games, but like it feels like they'll just complain about anything. But yeah.
But hey, you know what? Since we're on a similar topic of video games, this weekend, E3.
Oh, right, that is this weekend. Jeez.
I am very excited because this E3, for those of you who, for one, if you don't understand what E3 is, E3 is the Electronic Entertainment Expo, and it's essentially a, well, there's like a week of the actual like on-floor kind of events and stuff like that. But the big thing for people like us who aren't going to be attending the convention because money and time, there's live streams.
Places. And like, being there is kind of a hassle.
Yeah, because you have to fly out, get a hotel, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
there are live streams that the like developers and publishers sort of provide to announce new games, show new hardware, that kind of thing, and it's heavily targeted towards like actual gamers. It's not like an investment type meeting, although sometimes they treat it like that. That's kind of what EA has done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, the reason why this year is very different is Sony is not showing up at all,
Mm-hmm.
which means all eyes are going to Xbox when it comes to like big reveals. Like people know, like Nintendo, we're going to get a release date for Animal Crossing. That's and like a new Smash character. That's confirmed pretty much. Anything else we get from that is a bonus.
To be fair, Sony did release their like 8-minute long trailer for Death Stranding.
Yeah, that's
So like they kind of got ahead of the curve.
yeah, that's their entire E3 presentation. They would just be that for like an hour looping.
Like, they could have done like more stuff, but they did like get ahead of the curve, so like they didn't have to worry about like being drowned out by whatever Xbox has to talk about. Or I've heard that maybe Cyberpunk 2077 might make an appearance.
Oh, it definitely should. I'm not even
Nobody
gonna say,
knows like what.
I'm not going to say
like-
it will, but it should show up at this point because the last time we saw gameplay was I believe 6 months ago.
Yeah.
We definitely need an update.
I don't think we're going to get a release date because like I've been trying to follow like what I could, and like people are talking about the release date, that people are going to announce the release date and like it being pushed back because they want to like focus on it and make sure they do it right. Which is one thing I appreciate about CD Projekt Red. But yeah, I really hope to see something about that. One thing that might be seen that I've been hearing rumor about recently, because I've been playing The Witcher 3.
Mm-hmm.
The Witcher 3 might get ported to Switch.
Yeah, because there was the accidental leak. I think it was of I think it was on a Canada what was it? Walmart page where it said Witcher 3 Switch like for a pre-order, and then it got taken off, so it's like
there was that. But there was also, I want to say it was the voice actor for the main character, Geralt. He, like, made a tweet basically, like, saying, hey, Nintendo, when are we going to be getting, like, Witcher 3 on the Switch? Which, by the way, another tangent off this tangent. Apparently, Geralt is now a navigator in Euro Truck Simulator.
that is actually really cool, though. Having his voice.
Yeah.
Can we? Okay.
But
like again, just going with Witcher 3, and then we'll get back to actual E3 stuff. Can we just talk about how cool it is that CD Projekt Red, they are still very much an indie studio.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that they've released such incredible games, like especially Witcher 3, that game holds up and it will continue to hold up.
Like, I've been replaying it recently, and, like, it holds up. There are a couple things that are, like, a little bit off. Like, some of the facial animations, like, look a little bit weird. Or, like, just, like, a small bug, like, here or there. But, like, overall, it's an amazing game.
I have nothing but respect for them, especially for,
like, this
how much influence they've had on the game industry. I mean, hell, like, they put Gerald in Soul Calibur, and they made Gwent a full game. There's just, like, such an avid fan base that, like, you can tell that when Project Red, when they're working on something, they are passionate. It isn't, like, a throwaway kind of thing.
Like, like, CD Projekt Red is still basically an indie company, or an indie developer, but you know that their games are AAA games when, going back to it being brought to the Switch, people are wondering if the Switch can actually run the game. Just because of how, like, detailed the actual, like, textures and models are to, like, how cluttered the environment is and how, like, full it is. Because it's known for having, like, when you go into a city, it is full of people in that city.
Yeah, like,
And when you go out into the woods, like, it's full of wildlife. Like, that's the big thing about the game, and people are wondering, like, can the Switch actually, like, hold that?
I feel like it may be downscaled in the same way that Doom and Wolfenstein were.
Like, it's that, but imagine Doom as the same sandbox open world game as Breath of the Wild, which has, like, a more cartoony style that can get away with it.
Yeah, and even then, like, there were load-in distances that were kind of like, in that game.
Yeah.
I don't know. But regardless, since we're like, talking about like sort of indie studio type stuff with E3, one game that got announced to not be at E3 this year that I am very sad about, but I totally understand why.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the game Sessions?
I don't offhand.
Well, it was shown off, I believe, 2 years ago during Xbox's presentation. And
Oh,
it
that's
was,
the skateboard game.
yeah, everyone thought it was Skate 4 until the logo got shown. That game actually had, I believe, a Kickstarter, and that was like their announcement of the game was on that stage. And I've been following the development. The game looks great. Like, just the build that they have there, it's public access right now. Well, public as in people who backed it and everything. It works really nicely. The main thing they gotta work on is some animations because it seems a little stiff. But aside from that, this is the successor to the Skate franchise if they never release another game.
Yeah.
And I'm all in for it. But they announced that they're not going to be at E3 this year because they want to focus on making the game the best it can be, and they don't want to show it in the state that it's in. And I feel like that's something that's probably going to happen with a lot of games this E3. Like, I'm not expecting to see any gameplay of Metroid Prime 4, especially how they scrapped the initial concept.
Yeah.
In favor of, instead of developing it in-house, having Retro Studios, who did the original trilogy, like, they're going to be having them do it. I'm not expecting to see a whole lot of gameplay from, like, a lot of sort of higher profile things that have been teased. Like, have you seen there's a Predator game coming to, like, PlayStation, which I know we're not...
Oh, right.
I know PlayStation's not going to be at E3, but I don't expect to see gameplay of that until like early next year. Because I believe that game is slated for next year or either this winter. I don't remember correctly. If I'm wrong, we can throw up like a graphic just showing the actual date. But I don't expect to see gameplay for a while.
I don't know if I've heard we're going to get gameplay, but I do believe I've heard we're going to get more information on Halo Infinite.
I would...
And that's going to make another appearance.
I would love, like... Because, well, it's Halo. You know what the gameplay is going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be 99 Spartans dropped on an island.
I will cry. If they taint the franchise with that, no. That's
99 Spartans dropped on a ring.
That's like the thing with the joke that was made when they were showing off Borderlands 3, where it was like, don't worry, it's not a battle royale, and everyone started clapping.
Exactly.
And it's like, man, I would feel awful for the franchise if they did that. I mean, I could understand like a side game mode, but if they made an entire game dedicated to that, no.
Yeah.
You know what you want to know what my real fear with that game is?
What?
My main fear is that it's going to become what Fallout 76 is, where it was trying to do this big, ambitious, open map, have it online, have actual players be running around doing stuff with you, and just have it go belly up so fast.
I hope it doesn't follow Fortnite, where it promises so much, but anyone only plays the Battle Royale.
Well, see, the thing that makes me upset is that the Fortnite that's like the huge popular whatever thing, that is the Battle Royale free-to-play mode that was released after the initial game was released, which in my opinion was way more fun.
Yeah.
Because you were trying to protect like the bus and everything, you set up traps, you fight off zombies and stuff. There's a guy with a samurai
which is
sword.
which is why I hope Halo Infinite doesn't go down that same path.
You know what's another rumor that I've kind of heard?
Oh,
I believe it was the rumor of having the Call of Duty franchise become free to play after the next installment.
honestly, that'd be pretty great.
It would be great, but also what it would mean is they wouldn't go back. That means no campaigns, only focus on multiplayer in like PvE and like battle royale type modes. Which, I mean, there's definitely an audience for that. You mean, like you look at PUBG and Fortnite and Apex Legends, even though that kind of fell off, like there's still a very dedicated player base,
Yeah.
which they can definitely tap into. Like battle royale, that's a genre that like
I don't think that's going away anytime
yeah,
soon.
like initially I thought it would be kind of a fad, but there's so many people who are just like I want to be the best in the world at this game and this gives me the opportunity to flaunt that.
If Tetris 99 has taught me anything,
All right, what are you going to say about Tetris 99? You going to diss it? You going to diss
all
it?
I'm saying is, why Tetris 99 when you could have Ding Dong 99?
Oh my god, you know I'd play the crap out of that.
99 people. Ding Dong.
Oh my god. Nobody listening right now knows the game, but I will explain it. There's a game. I bought it for my Switch. Well, I didn't buy it. I used the gold points thing that you have. It's called Ding Dong XL. It's a one button game. You can also get this on your phone, but I got it on my Switch. I don't know why. But
Honestly, I kind of liked it.
well, yeah, it's a one button game and the whole point is you're playing as this ball and you're going back and forth between the screen, like the top and the bottom. There are objects that are flying through that you can't touch, and then there's some items that you can pick up that like give you 3 points or explode everything on screen or turn you into a saw blade where you can break all the objects that are flying back and forth. You can't stay on one side for too long because you start to inflate like a balloon. You can eventually explode. And also, the longer you wait, the larger your target is, so it's a bit harder to cross. And it's super simple, but it has that addictive kind of mentality of like, I need to play again. Like one more, one more, one more kind of thing. Hell,
Yeah.
and that was proven because you and we spent a significant period of time actually just playing it.
Like, that to me seems like the perfect mobile game for me, where it's like, oh, like, you can just pick it up, play it, and, like, when you're done, you just put it down. You don't have to, like, wait 24 hours for a building to get built unless you pay money to have it be done faster.
Yeah, like the whole idea behind the mobile game market is you need to create games that are fun, short bursts. You can pull it out, you can play it, then go back. I think the idea of the model of like having you wait 12 hours to build a building or whatever is to be like, oh, you do these actions now. Now you don't have to worry about the game for a long time. Then you can go back whenever. But
I actually saw, I went to a panel about, like, statistics in gaming, and part of it touched on, like, how the mobile market makes so much money. And it's when you have, like, those 12-hour things in, like, 24, like, however long they want, like, make you wait, they'll have it so that you can use, like, currency that you buy with real money to speed things
yeah.
up. They literally call the people whales. They'll just, like, put in a ton of money because they don't want to wait that long and they have the money to spend.
Yeah.
Man, we've gone pretty far off from E3, haven't
Well,
we?
I feel like it's still related because it's like one of the big things for me when it comes to E3 is exclusives or not, I feel like everybody wins when it comes to games. My big
Yeah.
thing is I want to see stuff from developers that I don't know anything about. I want to get excited over games that have little to no screen time. Like when Cuphead was revealed, like the first time it was shown at E3, that game, the trailer was like maybe 30 seconds long, but that was enough for me to immediately get hooked and want to follow the development. Like, same thing goes for Sessions, where it was just a montage of in-engine skating. And that was enough to make me be like, oh, I need to figure out the developer. I need to be able to continue to follow the project and everything. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to find my new favorite game. Like, just from those trailers. Like, for example, there's a trailer. This isn't E3 again. Wow, we're talking about E3 and not E3 a lot. But during the Game Awards, the most recent one, there is one game that's a 4-person kind of horror survival type thing. And it's called GTFO. And I don't know if that's out right now. I believe there was a beta for a bit. But once that game is released, or if it is released, I'm buying it because I want to play it with you, Ryan, and Ethan. I feel like that would be a great experience because it's literally a horror environment. You have to keep your eyes on every single corner, very atmospheric, and then like when it hits the fan, it hits the fan. So like you just spray bullets and pray. And I think that looks like a lot of fun. Again, I'm only going off of this trailer. Like, of course, it's easy to get hyped around a trailer and then be disappointed later on about like the way the game actually looks. For example, the first Watch Dogs. That's like a pretty famous example of having them purposely throttle the PC version so that the console version looks better when the actual trailer made in the PC engine without any of the restrictions that they had on.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, if you can build hype and make me excited about the game, then you got me. Like, I personally like never really played too much of say like Metroid. But when they had literally all this little teaser was it was a camera, it was pulling back, showed a bunch of star clusters, made Samus's like S or like the spin attack symbol, and then the number 4 faded in. That got me excited. Like it was something so simple, but it promised a lot. Which I know you can break promises and stuff like that, but for me, I enjoy the idea of jumping on like a hype train and just being very passionate about a game. Not like blindly defending it from any criticism, mind you, but like being legitimately happy and getting energetic over the fact that like with E3, a lot of people they do this whole thing where it's like, oh, this company won E3 because they had these reveals, and this company lost because they only did this. I feel like everybody wins because you get games, you get consoles, you get cool services, and like sure there could be disappointing shows and stuff. Like there was Bethesda Land, which was in any of Nintendo's presentations before like the directs became a thing, and by that I mean purely the one where they had Reggie play Wii Fit for like a solid 10 minutes, and it was very uncomfortable, and they played Wii music.
Okay, that you can't say that wasn't a win because
okay, that's the only good thing that came out of that. The only two best things that came from that presentation were that and Animal Crossing. That's that's literally the only good things, because aside from that, you had, I believe that was the same year, the presentation with Skyward Sword, where the Wiimote wasn't syncing correctly and he literally could not play it.
Oh, no.
Like it was supposed to show off this new attachment to make 1-to-1 motion with the Wiimote possible, and it was just, you look at Link's arm, it's just going like just all over.
Like there's problems like that, but then when the most recent God of War was like, it was introduced,
and it was like
E3, right?
a solid what was it,
and they had like,
I believe it was about 10 minutes of actual gameplay,
and the music was done live.
That's what.
So they did that all live right there. That wasn't like in the game yet. They did it live because they wanted to.
Yeah,
do it
and
live.
they were confident enough in that product to show it live. Like, live gameplay demos are probably the most stressful thing. Like, one of the big things,
Yeah.
like, for me is I like to look a lot into sort of what goes on behind the scenes when it comes to putting on presentations and stuff like this. And literally, there is a script that the person who's playing the demo has to follow to a T so that they don't throw off the beat of the actual convention. Like, if they take too much damage at a certain, well, like, not convention, presentation, but if they take a certain amount of damage, then they can't, like, do a certain part next. Or, like, a way that this attack is supposed to go won't work. Of course, there's, like, certain things that are streamlined in the demo, like getting certain weapons or doing certain things, like, just for the sake of giving like a nice flowing kind of preview. But there is enough there that is like chance, like enemy attacks and spawns and things like that, that you have to take into account. And it's that amount of micromanaging that you have to respect.
And if you like seeing behind the scenes stuff, I actually watched the documentary that the studio released behind the making of the most recent God of War, and it had like a section all about how Cory Barlog, like the director of it, was the one playing the demo, and he like goes into just how like nerve-wracking everything was, because like the music and the orchestra was all done live, so like they knew the music, but they didn't know how long it was going to take to do stuff, or if he was going to mess up at all. So it's like, if he took a little bit longer, like, they would just have to extend that part of the music a little bit longer and do it freestyle. And then when they got to, like, the cinematic parts, like, they'd have to do it, like, on key with all the actions.
Like, that's the thing is, when I first watched that demo, I was so, like, enraptured by the actual visual, like, part of it, that I didn't even notice that the orchestra was still playing. I thought that was all in game.
Nope. No, like, the whole thing was to ignore the orchestra, but he's like, I want orchestra live in there. I don't want just like there to be music in the game. I don't remember if he did that on purpose or if they just didn't have the music in the game yet. But like the fact that you don't quite know that, like, I feel makes it even that much more perfect.
Yeah, especially the fact where this is the first time that I'm like, wow. Like, that shows confidence, and I like that.
He wasn't even sure if people were going to like God of War at all. Like, he didn't expect the reaction of, like, he, like, Kratos comes out of the shadow and is like, I am hungry. Like, he had no idea if anyone was going to like that, and everybody freaked out when they knew it was Kratos.
Yeah, because, like, the biggest thing for me when I saw that trailer was, oh my god, it's a third-person angle, and oh my god, Kratos with an axe. That's all I needed. Anything else was a bonus.
But yeah, I'm not gonna go through the entire documentary, but it is definitely like amazing to watch because it gets into like the actors' perspectives too, and Kratos' voice actor. Like, I love his like voice acting job that much better after knowing like his story and what he put into it.
Yeah, but within sort of the last few minutes of this podcast, I want to kind of let us sort of dream. What is like your dream announcement that could come from like the week of E3? Maybe not from the press conference, but like some point.
I think you should go first on that.
Okay.
Because I've been trying to like, I wouldn't say I've tried to ignore E3 stuff. It's mostly just like I haven't looked for it. So I've just heard like maybe Cyberpunk, maybe Halo, but like that's about it. So if you want to go first on that.
Okay, so there's a couple of things, but I'll hit the main ones that like are if they happen, I'll be very happy. For one, you know how Nintendo and Microsoft they're getting buddy. Yeah. Like you have Cuphead on the Switch. There's possible rumors of having the Game Pass library on there. But what I would love is that I believe a year or two ago, it was announced on the Xbox stage that Battletoads will be coming to Xbox One. I would love for them to announce for it to be coming to Switch too. Since the original was on the NES, that would be like really, really nice. It'd also be like a nice move again for both, like for PR of just being like close the gap between companies and have them actually come together. Hell, like there's a whole thing with like Sony and Xbox possibly doing a streaming platform together. And hell, having their next consoles be just streaming only devices, which I don't exactly know how happy I would be with that, because I very much enjoy having physical copies and like actually like having CDs and cartridges and stuff, because it's a visual thing and also like a tactile thing. But aside from that, other announcements, it would be like, I would say that I'd be excited to see who the next character in Smash Bros. For the DLC, who that next character will be. But everyone already knows it's going to be the guy from Dragon Quest. So, like, it's all but confirmed. And that's fine. I mean, Dragon Quest isn't exactly huge in the States as it is in Japan and other territories. But I don't know. One other thing that people were speculating, which would be crazy, is for them to announce 2 characters at E3.
Oh, yeah.
And I have 2 dreams for the characters. One is Banjo-Kazooie, because obviously I'm a huge fan of those games. Those were collectathons that I kind of grew up with. And it would be really cool to just see them back in action. And if anything, it could pave the way for a new Banjo-Kazooie game possibly coming out for Switch and Xbox, if they get like enough good traction. The other one, and this one is a little bit of a stretch, but I still commit to it. I want to see another character from like a console that, like, it's a game that's exclusive on that console. I mean, hell, we had Cloud before Final Fantasy VII was ported to the Switch. We have Joker before, like, I believe it was Persona 5S, or no, Royale was announced for the Switch.
Can they just add Geralt from The Witcher, and that's their Switch crossover?
Jake, I'm not even kidding.
Another sword wielding character.
I'm not even kidding. That's exactly who I want in the game.
Oh my
because
God.
The thing is that I played Soul Calibur. He's so much fun in that. Imagine his moveset in fucking Smash Bros. Like, sure, people will be like, oh, he's just another sword guy. Oh, why we have so many of them? But like
But then you forget he has magic.
He has magic. He has other shit. So people would be like, oh, Robin clone. And it's like, shut up. He has a beautiful voice. Think of the stage that you could have and all the music. Oh my God, the music.
Final Smash. Gotta be.
Dude, literally, if...
He just comments throughout the entire match.
Dude, imagine if the stage was literally just a game of Gwent and you're jumping from the cards, and when you attack on the cards, it flips them. And you're actually like playing a round of Gwent. That would be hilarious.
I've played a bit of Gwent, and like it has like 3 different rows you can put cards on, but you can get like certain like area effect cards that'll like wipe out an area of like being useful. So that'd be perfect as like an environmental like thing.
Custom stage builders, Smash. Get it going. Find a way. I know it's very limited in the current state, but they're definitely going to update it. They got to.
If there's a will, there's a way.
Oh, man. And aside from that, I just want to know more about the Play Anywhere like system, because they announced that with Xbox, and they've been doing some games with that, where it's if you buy it on Xbox, you can play it on PC too, if you have the same account. Because I've been looking to get an Xbox at some point, because I enjoy that console. I like the games and a lot of just the controller in general and stuff. And I know a lot of people will rip me apart and just be like, PS4 is way better. And it's like, well, that comes down to opinion. And right now, I don't care about your opinion because this is a pre recorded podcast. And what can you do? Spam me
Yeah.
with comments? I'm not going to read them. I can't read.
It's like that meme with the cars where it's like, this one's great, but I want this one.
Yeah, this is fun. This is great. But I like
But
this
but I like the other one.
Wow. I went through.
Welcome to Console Wars.
Wow. I was going to say, I almost went through the entire podcast without coughing, but there you go.
Almost. So this is the only thing I want out of E3, mind you, with very, very low expectations. So, it's the opening ceremony. Gabe Newell comes onto the stage.
He announces Ass Portal.
He starts talking about where he's going to be taking Steam with, Epic Games and everything with that. Maybe talks about some updates to Dota 2, like what they're doing with that. The conference is about to close, like the opening ceremony is about to close. And the screen behind him goes black, but he says, oh, one more thing. And a massive fucking 3 comes up on the screen. Everybody goes fucking wild, and everyone's starting to cry at the announcement of a third game. An E pops up next to it. Gabe says, have a nice E3.
That would be horrible.
And Gabe Newell gets shot.
No. You can't. Dude, you know what would be even better? The E doesn't show up. It's just the number 3, and they don't say what game it's for, and they just put the number 3, and he just walks away, and everyone's losing their shit.
No.
And then they're like going on forums, micromanaging, or like analyzing every little thing he did during that talk to be like, it has to be Left 4 Dead, dude. Like that kind of thing. I would love that.
Ever since I read that on, I want to say it's like 4chan or something, one of those, forum sites. That's all I've ever wanted from an E3. For Gabe Newell to come up there, talk about some stuff about Steam, have a massive 3, and just say, have a nice E3.
Dude, that's how you get your office burned. That is how you lose all support. Like, if Epic wasn't as poorly optimized as it is right now, if he pulled a stunt like that, people would jump over. But,
if it wasn't the end of the podcast, we could go into there would be a reason with everything going on with Epic, and all the talks of exclusives and things like that.
Let's get into it. Why not? We can make it longer.
But also, what's interesting as I don't even remember where I heard it or what I heard of it, but apparently Valve might be getting back into making games. I think I might have heard something about job listings or certain jobs they've been hiring for.
Yeah.
But there is a possibility of some kind of game coming out, even if it's not a third, a game coming out.
I know that they've been hard at work developing a new engine to try to get one that would bring a next level sort of experience, and that they had an idea for a new IP, maybe not a sequel, but
maybe not a card game.
Yeah, I don't know. I would love to see what they could come up with, because they definitely have a lot of talented people over there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, since,
Did you want to talk about the stuff going on with Epic?
I was going to say, yeah, because, I mean, it's been a gap since the last time we've posted, so we might as well go a little longer.
I do have a fun little story about Epic that I heard a while back at this point, but it's still a great story. Someone, literally the entire story is, someone was buying games off the Epic store, and he got banned.
What?
So, if you go onto the Epic store, and you try to buy a number of games, you'll notice that you can't put those games into a shopping cart and buy them all at once, which means you have to buy them all individually. Normally that would be fine, but most places, including the Epic Store, have it so that if you make too many purchases too quickly, that'll be seen as like possibly like fraudulent and being like false purchases that aren't from you, but someone else making a bunch of purchases at once. So because a guy bought too many games at once, being like between like five to I want to say like $40, so like regular priced games, like less than full priced games, he bought too many, and the Epic Store basically just like closed his account
Ridiculous.
because he made too many purchases on their own store.
Literally ridiculous. Because, like, see, this is the thing that makes me upset about Epic. Like, you can have your opinions on the whole thing with Tencent and, like, the data and everything. Like, personally,
Yeah.
Tencent's been taking my information for years. I play League of Legends. Like, I don't care. Like, the main thing for me is that Epic basically bought their way to having an online store. They didn't try to make any kind of direct like system before anything. It was like Fortnite blew up and they had a bunch of extra money and there's only so many dancing emotes they could develop, so they were like, we're just gonna buy the exclusive rights for a bunch of games that people like and force them to buy them through us so we can keep making more money for when Fortnite somehow dies within the next 5 years.
And
they bought Rocket League. That pissed me off.
Yeah. And, like, I hadn't heard of, like, that kind of problem happening because I only get, like, the one free game that, like, they have, like, a week or a month or whatever.
Yeah, I missed out on the last few because I just kind of ignored it.
And, like, these kinds of problems, you only really see them when, like, someone steals, like, a credit card and buys, like, a pool and a car and a house and, like, all these other things, like, all at once. You don't see it at other places because you put stuff in a shopping cart and you just buy it all at once. But because you can't do that at Epic, it's apparently fraud.
What I feel like it might be trying to do? It might be trying to avoid, like, because, again, Fortnite, their biggest game, literally when you download the launcher, it assumes you're downloading it and tries to get you to download it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it could be a preventative measure for kids like buying V-Bucks or whatever for that game. V-Bucks are the paid currency that you can use to unlock items in the game, I believe. I personally have never played Fortnite. I have no desire to. But yeah, I mean, it's like any free-to-play game. There's a model where you can pay. And it's purely cosmetic. It's not like what Battlefront 2 was, where you had to like pay in order to get good characters and stuff like that. It's purely like, you want to look like a banana? $5. Like,
yeah,
basic stuff. But there are kids who would literally steal money from their parents in order to buy like skins in that game. So I feel like that might have been a measure to try to prevent that. But in doing so, it cripples another market where it's like you actually make the money, you want to get the game and everything, and you can't because they're like, oh, you're buying too many games at once. Well, excuse me, mister. I don't believe this is your account. Bye.
Yeah. And, like, even then, it's not about, like, how much you spend. It's about how many individual things you buy. It's like, if a kid wants to spend, like, $100, like, straight on, like, one purchase of, like, $100 for however many V-Bucks, like, they can still do that with, like, no problem. But if you want to, like... for whatever reason, if you want to start buying all of your games on the Epic Store, and you do it one by one because there's no cart, like, you're screwed. You've got to wait, like, a time limit, basically.
That's, like, you make a store, you get all these exclusives, and then you expect us to wait between purchases when people, like, I literally, like, when it comes to buying games, it's either I buy one individual game and then I wait, like, a month to buy a new one, or I get like a bundle.
Yeah.
And like, imagine when they offer bundles on this service, will that immediately like shut down your account the moment you buy a bundle?
If they do it with a bundle, you're only buying that one purchase of the bundle.
So but then you're fine.
Imagine if you were to like buy like Saints Row like Saints Row 3.
If they bought Saints Row, I would kill myself.
Let's
No.
say you bought Saints Row 3 on the Epic Store, and you want to like buy like the 50 or whatever like DLC that they have for like all the individual things. If you bought all of those individually, which are what, like 50 cents each, maybe $1.
Yeah, or you can just get full package and get all of them together.
But if you had to buy them individually, you'd get your account closed for like $10 worth of like expansion stuff.
That's, oh my god. Like, I get it. Epic wants to be a staple in sort of like the online game like marketplace and
They
try
just
to
don't
have
know how.
Yeah, they're trying to be a rival to Steam without like optimizing themselves.
Yeah,
Like,
without knowing how to
there's
be better.
there's little to no actual like friend list or communication type thing.
There's no
The
customer
store
support
itself,
either.
Hmm?
If you look at it, there's actually no customer support.
Yeah. And like there's no actual like the store itself is cumbersome, like awful to navigate. And that just like if your UI sucks, people will turn away. That's why a lot of people don't enjoy Xbox because the UI is a mess.
Yeah.
And like same thing goes for like Windows or like there's a few other consoles that are kind of the same way or like games like that. Like I don't care what anyone's opinion is on Smash Bros, but the UI for the Wii U version sucks. Like it is one of the like it's stylized as hell. Like I will admit that. But like ever since Brawl, they decided to go style over function. Like the menus in Melee in the original game, those worked fine, but then they were like, "Oh, we need yellow and red and green and the tiny little purple." Like I don't know. That's the same thing that like Epic's doing where it's like they're trying to make it look sleek and stylish and cool without excuse me. They're trying to make it sleek and stylish and cool without actually putting in the functionality that it's what made Steam good. I mean, Steam itself as a marketplace, it's kind of trash, but like it gave you so many features to the point where like you're able to easily link up with friends and play games with them. You can easily find new games and re-download and repurchase like other things. Like they made hell, you can link games that you didn't buy on Steam through Steam so that people can join in through there, and that's super helpful. But then you got Epic and they just don't want to play nice and they don't want to try. And it just baffles me how at this point in the video game industry, like I understand also, don't get me wrong, I understand what Epic's trying to do where they're trying to like pay more for the developers, but they're also trying to put a vice grip over every other online store by being like, oh, they're not doing what we do.
Oh, you want this game? You have to come to us.
Yeah, like any kind of like personally, I don't believe anyone wins with an exclusivity deal.
Yeah.
Because one, like, what if the platform you're releasing it on, like, nobody cares?
Yeah.
Like, physics-based, like, for example, physics-based puzzle games just historically have bombed on consoles. On PC, they're great. Imagine if a game like Human Fall Flat was a console exclusive and never made it to PC. It would be a failure. They wouldn't have had the DLC and the patches and the 8-player version and everything that came out. But like, of course, when there's services offered where they could try the game for cheap or whatever, like Game Pass or whatever, like player base will go up because then they can just try it and it's not like they're losing too much money. It's mainly just a time commitment.
Yeah.
But regardless, like the two things that when it comes to video games for a lot of the consumers and anyone who really has just sat down and played a game before or have thought about buying games, one, they want to be able to feel like they're not forced into a corner. They want to feel like they have a legitimate choice when it comes to how they purchase and how they play. Like,
Yeah.
the idea of versatility, like, that's huge. Because, like, you have people who prefer PC, console, phone, whatever. Like,
or even just people who want all their games on one place if you play PC, as opposed to like having Steam and Origin and Uplay and now Discord has their own store now.
yeah, and there's like exclusives on there. Like, I understand the need to have competition because Steam hasn't been matched in a very long, like, Steam hasn't been matched in a very long time. And I'm all in for actual competition. The biggest thing for me, though, is it needs to feel like a fair competition. And the way that Epic's doing it, they're just trying to speedrun it, buy their way to the level that Steam is at, to be like, oh, you guys have to respect us now. When really, it's just, the best way I can describe it is, the Epic Store is that one kid who, like, in high school, he heard that every cool kid has this certain pair of shoes. Like, let's say, like, they're Jordans, the Air Force One Chicago's, and they're like the red and black ones. But and he's like, oh man, like, those are the coolest shoes. If I buy that, they'll respect me. They'll think I'm cool and that kind of thing. And he buys that shoe and he goes in and goes up to them, and everybody else has different sneakers at this point. Like, they're trying to catch up to where a lot of other companies are, and it just does not work because they just don't have the experience under their belt. Like, they created the engine that, like, a lot of games use, yes, and a lot of the exclusivity deals are because they use the engine. But that also alienates the audience because there's people who prefer to have a certain way to play it.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's, like, that's just losing money at that point. I mean, you've seen the backlash from just Borderlands 3. That is something that we will get into in a different podcast because that is like an hour in of itself.
Yeah.
There's so much backlash with that from just the immature way that it was handled, and just, oh man, and the thing that sucks is that I love the franchise. I don't know if I'm going to buy that game.
Yeah.
And that's not just because it's a Epic Store exclusive. It's not just because it will be 6 months till it comes on Steam. It's because I don't even know if I want to support it.
Yeah, like you love Borderlands. Like,
I've heard
so you talk about Borderlands almost as much as you talk about Saints Row, and almost as much as I talk about WoW. like you have your own like personal connection with it, and from what I've heard, like, apparently a lot of other people have like the very same like deep connection to the game because of how like unique it was. But
yeah, because it's
now
just like,
it kind of like feels like it fucked up a little bit by like completely siding with Epic.
And the best part is that Borderlands 3 actually was removed from the Epic Store because Epic fucked up a sale. Did you see that?
No.
They ruined, like, they were trying to have a big sale, and they put like a reduced price on the game for the pre-order, and they didn't want that, so they removed the game from that. And also there was like other sale things that didn't make any sense. Like there was this like one game in the franchise was like 15% off, the other one was 65%, and people were just like, what the hell is going on?
Oh.
To the point where Epic was like, yeah, we're not doing the sale anymore because developers are pulling out. I don't know, do you have the Epic Store open right now?
I can open it.
Because I was going to say, actually check and see if Borderlands 3 is still there, because I remember it being removed for a good period of time.
Let's see if I go to the store. Borderlands 3. Nothing is there. Okay.
So it's just gone.
If I search Borderlands, nothing is there. What if I search Fortnite? Okay, so it is working.
So
there's
literally,
nothing about Borderlands.
They pulled it because they didn't know how to market and actually run a store. And so they realized that they're going to lose more money than gain. And so they went back and were like, yeah, we're going to be released on Steam.
Yeah.
Like, if that just doesn't show how incompetent the store, like the people who created Epic Store, are when it comes to trying to run a marketplace, I don't know what does.
Literally, I can just sum up my thoughts about the Epic Store as I love the free games. Everything else is shit.
Oh yeah, no,
Like you have Slime Rancher that I actually enjoyed. You have Stories Untold, The Witness,
Stories Untold is fantastic.
What Remains of Edith Finch,
Transistor
Oxenfree,
was free for a bit.
Transistor, Oxenfree, Rhyme. I've heard good things about World of Goo.
World of Goo is a fantastic game. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Wait, that was free?
It was, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, and now they have what is it called? It's like Kingdoms.
Kingdom Reign.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's-
that was good too.
It's a fantastic game.
Like the games that go free, they're great. I don't know what they mean for like the market, or if like Epic makes any money somehow, or if the
It's supposed to
developers make
entice
money
people.
somehow.
I think well, one, it's publicity for the developers,
Yeah,
because, you know, more clicks, more downloads, I feel like they get money out of that. And for Epic, it's good because they get people on their platform and playing games on their platform, so they can say they have an active player base when really we're just here for the free games. Basically, what they're trying to do is boost statistics so that they seem to be thriving when really there's nothing more happening than just Fortnite and the free games.
like if it weren't for the free games, I wouldn't give a shit about the Epic Store. I'd just be like laughing at them from a distance. But like,
Yeah, like,
but you have like Edith Finch that I loved, and Stories Untold that I thought had an amazing like wrap up ending to it all. You have The Witness, which had like fun puzzles until they got annoying. Even Slime Rancher, I like really enjoyed like the maintenance aspect, and there was a really like nice story to it too that I actually
the fucking
enjoyed.
cat gel sucks.
There's slimes, not gels.
No, I'm talking about like when. Did you literally have? Okay, I don't know if this is a thing in the game, but have you had like the slime, like your little slime guys, like eat the gems that you're supposed to pick up?
Yeah,
Because my cat did that.
dude.
Anytime I went to suck up the gem, it would just eat it in front of me and smile, and I'm just like, this is why I don't give you any chickens.
The great thing about that is like we're gonna talk about Slime Rancher. If a slime eats another slime's, I don't even remember what they're called, some like weird like glorp or whatever. Gem.
Let's just say gem.
When they eat another gem, they turn into like a combination of the two, and they can
Yeah.
eat like the diets of both of them, and they're actually like pretty great because you get 2 gems for the price of 1 food item. 4 for the price. Yeah, 4 if you get them one of their like favorites.
Yeah. The problem is like literally all those combinations so far that I found, it all turns into cannibals.
Cannibals.
Literally, like there is a slime that eats everything and eats smaller slimes.
I've
I'm
never
not
seen a
talking about,
slime that
like, the
eats
evil
smaller
ones.
Slimes.
What?
I don't. There is not a slime that eats smaller slimes.
No, there's definitely one that was like it eats everything and it fucking ate like other slimes, and I'm not talking
There's,
about
like,
the evil ones.
There's like the pink ones.
I'm not fucking crazy. Look it up.
I'll look it up. But I thought it was fun, and it had a very interesting story because you're like reading messages from like 2 different like storylines. Because one is like, I want to say like a some kind of
Parental figure.
parental guardian figure, and it's like his story that I don't want to spoil because it's like really sweet. But then you also have one from like a friend from like the planet that you left to go to this farm, and it's like the messages back and forth of like missing each other. Like it's an
Yeah.
amazing story to follow, but like even the gameplay is like kind of fun in my opinion.
I think the gameplay is fun. I'm not good when it comes to micromanaging.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy that aspect in games, but I just can't do it personally.
Mm-hmm. And there is eventually you'll get to a point where if you forget to feed a certain slime that I like forget the name of it, these like whirly turly slimes, they literally create tornadoes on your ranch. It will suck up everything and throw everything around.
Oh no.
I did not keep them around for long.
Yeah.
I don't care how many of their gems they give me. I will not have tornadoes on my ranch.
Jeez. Well, anyways, I believe we found a nice place to end this episode.
Yes.
We're definitely going to be more on top of recording and actually getting episodes out on time.
Hopefully.
Well, I'd like to try to hold myself to this instead of having the long gap.
Yeah.
Although it was pretty nice to refresh. But
plus we also said that about the last episode that never got aired.
Yeah.
So, fingers crossed that nothing went wrong this time. And we are recording this on a Thursday into Friday, so there is time for it to get edited and put up at a regular time.
Yeah, so we're improving.
Yeah.
And hey, you know what? Next time we'll talk a little bit about E3, what was revealed, what we like, what we don't like, and then probably find other ways to complain about video games and maybe other things too.
Yeah. And when the next one goes up, I'll be in Maine.
Dude, that's not a state. Anyways, thanks for listening to the Pixel Venture podcast. I've been Corey.
And I've been Jake.
And we'll see you next time.
And we'll talk to you in the next one.
I said see you, and we're audio based.
Yes.
Jake, put hyper realistic eyes on my character right now.
Same thing that you make fun of me for.
Yeah, but put hyper realistic eyes on my character now.
Oh, I will. And it will slowly zoom into you.
Yeah, but like only at this point, and just have it slowly be building up like music. I'm a little scared now. I don't think I like this joke anymore.
Ooh, maybe I'll have like that classic like horror movie sound of like the what's it?
The knives on piano strings?
Yeah, like the
Yeah. Yeah, no, this sound effect.
Just that, like, extended.
Yeah, just like this. This is stupid. I'm stopping this. See you guys next week.
We have a podcast.
It sometimes works.
Listen to our podcast. Please.